welcome to another video. Today it's the first in a series of mini tutorials where I break down all the steps that went into making this dress. So the first one's going to be how to French seam a basic seam. Let's get started. So I'm going to be showing you how to make a French seam today. So the first thing that you want to do is have any darts that your bodice piece may have sewn in and pressed down neatly. Next thing we need to do is pin the sides of our bodice together, and we're going to do that with the wrong sides together first. So you're going to want to match up any notches that there are and pin. And when you're pinning, you want to make sure that you are catching all of the dart as well. So that is included in there. Once everything's pinned in place, we're then going to sew this at 1/4 inch. Now I can move my needle over, and my presser foot, the toe of my presser foot, is 3/8 inch away from where the needle stitch is. So I'm actually going to move my needle over a couple of ticks so that I'm still keeping the edge of my presser foot on the edge of the fabric, but then moving the needle over will allow me to sew close to the edge of the fabric. And I'm doing that because with some of the finer fabrics, which is definitely what you want to be using French seams for, can sometimes get sucked down into the bobbin casing as well when you're sewing. So I like to keep the presser foot right against the edge and then move my needle over. Okay, so once you've sewn your seam with the wrong sides together at 1/4 inch, the next thing that you want to do is trim your seam in half. So we've got 1/8 inch being trimmed away there and 1/8 inch remaining on the seam allowance. So I'm going to do that all the way up, and I'm going to do that for both sides. Once we've trimmed the seam allowance down, we then need to fold it so that the right sides are together, and we're going to press. And when I'm pressing mine, I like to kind of roll the seam so that the stitching line that we've just sewn becomes right on the edge and becomes on the crease of our press. So I like to, as I say, just sort of roll the fabric to get it all lying flat and then give it a good press. Once you've pressed your seam, you should end up with something that looks like this. So the next step that we need to do is enclose our raw edge, and that is to sew the final part of the French seam. So we're going to sew at just under 3/8 inch, because the 1/4 inch and the 3/8 inch make up the 5/8 inch seam allowance that this pattern uses. We're going to sew just under because we need to take into account the turn of the cloth here, so that you know that it's not going to be exactly 1/4 inch because we've got the little bump from where we've pressed it all under and the turning of the fabric over on itself. So just under 3/8 inch and the whole way down, and you want to back stitch at the start and at the end. So I've sewn the seam down at 3/8 inch, I've sewn over the dart as well, and that has encased all of the raw edges on the outside, and you've got a lovely neat finish on the inside. So I'm going to press this towards the back of the bodice, and that's how you do a French seam. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section down below, and I will do my best to answer them for you. I really hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye!